Wow, wow. Hello, everyone. 1 second. One second. Tonight's a big live. I've got a very special guest joining me here. Eliyahu is going to be joining in a second, and we're going to be talking about some amazing topics, the idea of purpose of life, and I'm so excited to share this amazing guest with you. Let me just add him now.
Hello,
Eliyahu, the man.
hello.
Jeez, what's going on,
Thank you.
bro?
It's
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
It's been a
You
minute
haven't
and a
come
half.
to Tzfat.
I know, man. There's a lot of kedusha here, you know. So I'm just I'm still utilizing this kedusha, and then when I get to that level, I come back to. How are
Ah,
you feeling on this
we're
very
so
special
lucky.
day,
It's
my
Rosh
friend?
Chodesh Adar. We're beyond blessed.
I always know the answer with you. I know you're always in a good space. That's the thing. Like, I know if I ask you a question, I know if I ask you how you are, like it's not really a question because the answer's already there. You
Listen,
know what I mean?
there's sometimes there's answers on IG Live and there's answers in WhatsApp and then there's answers in person. But no matter what it is, it's always Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. I think at the end of the day, we're real. So people know like we're very transparent. You know, whether we're feeling, we kind of wear our hearts on our sleeves. I think you know the way me and you are, and it's quite interesting how we got together on this because like you know we're always in touch. Me and you, we're always like supporting what each other's doing and trying to do in the world. And I think me and you have quite a lot to say on kind of, especially other simcha, happiness, purpose in life, and kind of we have a lot of to add to how we feel and how you know how we should view existence to a certain degree. And I know you were saying to me on chat that you know, Parsha, there's a lot going on this week. You and to do purpose in life. I'd obviously like to start the discussion and just kind of see first of all what's going on with you and kind of how does this Parsha kind of connect with you and what do you think about and we can kind of
Yeah,
bounce from there. And obviously, ask questions, please just share with us. Ask anything you want. We're here for you, man.
I see people checking in from all over across the world. So let's go. Let's take a good ride. So yeah, like you said, it's we both like to speak about purpose in life and deeper meaning and finding inspiration and getting through this battle of a world that is pretty messed up if you just look at it on face value, right? But if you go a little bit deeper, you see that there's an infinite sea of wisdom that is untapped and that could never be completely conquered. And the connection to Hashem is a constant goal that could never be fully achieved, right? So it's something we have to constantly work on. It's never perfection. We'll never get to that. And and like you said, in the Torah, at least for me, and it's clear for millions of Jews throughout history that the Torah is filled with everything we need in order to be successful in that battle and to do it with a smile on our face. So yeah, like this week's parasha, there's many gems, but I guess we could say one idea just to start off the night, right? That I shared it this week in a video, how to find purpose in life, how to find meaning in life, right? In this week's parasha, it's about the building of the Mishkan, the building of the temple, the tabernacle in the desert, and it says Hashem says to Moses, "Go to the people and and take from the hearts of the people a donation from me, right, towards the Mishkan."
Yeah.
And and Rav Itchemeyer Shlita Baruch Hashem, he explained that what does it mean that go to their hearts and take from me a donation, take from me a tribute, right? In our heart, we know that we have, especially a person like you connected to Chabad, this is an essential teaching of the Tanya, right? That we have two sides of our heart. The right side is more connected to spirituality. The left side is more connected to the animal side of this world and the physical side of this world. And that's exactly where we have to take the truma from, this tribute, this contribution to the temple from. Now, what is a truma? In Hebrew, teruma is a donation, right? Charity. But it's also a similar word in Hebrew to litromem, to elevate, to ascend, to
Right.
rise higher, right?
Okay.
So how does one rise higher? Take it from your heart. Your heart is made up of these two sides. So if we look closer, there's on the right side, there's the side of holiness, of the spiritual side, and there's things that we're doing that we have so much to do within Torah and mitzvot and halacha and throughout our days and throughout our lives. But there's certain things that we're connected to more than others, right? And my friend might connect to prayer, but for me, it's to learn Gemara all day. And for him, he couldn't stand doing that. But when he goes to pray, it's him and Hashem, one-on-one, straight connection, right? So we have to learn from one another. But there's definitely the things that I connect to more than my surrounding, and I really, for me, it does good for me. Forget all the surrounding. I like it. I love doing that thing. There we have to put more emphasis. And if we put more emphasis on the things that we love, and the things that we're connected to, and the things that we're talented to, that we clearly have a portion in, then we will be maximizing the right side of our heart. And on the left side, the side that's more connected to the animal soul,
Okay.
there we all know that there's certain things that us personally we fail at, and we're hard at, and we're not able to conquer it. We're not able, and they're preventing us from getting holier. Right? If we pay attention there and we work on those things more than everything else, we put extra work on fighting that side that we think is unconquerable, and we only get stronger and stronger there. That is how to find and to get much closer to your mission in this life, because it's clear that those are the things that are sticking out on either side of your heart.
Wow. Sorry, man. I'm just like a lot of layers to that, but like the thing that kind of sticks out to me is really amazing how you've taken that, the heart aspect of that, and the right and left side, animal, holy side, and kind of using that to kind of get to kind of redirect you to things that you kind of connect to most. And I think a lot of people in society kind of tend to focus on what they're not so good at, or kind of the next difficult. They use that as their reference point for success. Instead of looking at their strength, people spend a lot of time looking at maybe those parts that aren't necessarily where they're thriving, and then use that as a meter, a reference point. So this is where I am, and this is where I should be going. Whereas I think what I'm saying is that like people shouldn't really, maybe obviously there's always work on, but the point of locus point of like purpose and life, the point where you find necessarily the most difficult and that your weakest points. Obviously there's the things that you should work, but more so, I don't know, also maybe the things that you're good at already, obviously work on the things that you're not so good on, but like use that to be your kind of your fuel into your purpose. Tats has an amazing analogy for finding purpose in life, and he says that if you're stuck in terms of like you don't know what you want to do in life, or you don't know where you're going in life, and you're really, really stuck. I do this with some of my clients at the yeshiva that I work with, I do life coaching, is I tell them to draw a circle in the middle of the page, and like a blank, nothing in, and they start putting in their strength. I'm good at public speaking, or I'm good at making friends, or I'm good at art, and also all their things they like as well, their hobbies. It could be, I like going for walks, I like meditation, and then you meditate on this image of all your strengths and your passions together, and he says it normally gives you a good idea of where to start, because if you're good at art and you're good at speaking to people and maybe working in a gallery, you start putting together these strengths and the passions. So in terms of taking maybe what you said and making it like a bit practical for people, that sometimes people struggle with, where the direction in life, sometimes it's good to take that thing that we need to work on and actually put it down on paper and say, Let's make it
That's
practical.
the
Let's make
point.
it
That's
practical.
the most
What are the
important.
strengths?
That's the most
You know,
important part of learning Torah is applying it.
yeah, and that's always like one of the most parts because we. It's easy to think that when you learn Torah or you learn subjects that it's important that you should stay up here. You know, there's a category of people going to trying to find spirituality. And there's the classic story of the Jew that goes all the way to these monasteries and spends time being silent and not eating and completely neglecting themselves and trying to connect to spirituality. And when they go to the Buddha says, go to Israel, like you're a Jew. Like you elevate physicality, neglect yourself from it. And that's what like Judaism is all about. It's not just about like kind of just like abstaining yourself away from practical existence, but taking that mental and that calmness and that stillness and that, you know, I'm very aware of all of these concepts of meditation being in the self aspect as opposed to the animal. But like it's a big contradiction in life, I think. I don't know, I would like to discuss this actually. I've been having these kind of thoughts a lot recently Judaism is a lot about sitting with contradictions, like being able to have two opposing ideas sitting together. And the idea that the spiritual self, this spiritual soul, but also the ideal that we need to eat at the end of the day. We need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's like it's so confusing. Like I just want to be like in the bliss of Hashem and just be in the soul, but then I have to wake up and like press my alarm, you know, in the morning, and like I'm just like so tired. Then I've got to go to work, and it's like it's like where's the spiritual side here? Like I'm just like I'm in the mush, you know. So like, what's your thoughts on that idea of like we have a physical body, but yet we have to our goal is like spiritually, like how do you kind of balance those two
The thing is
ideas?
that really in life, everything is a matter of vessels and light. So when it comes to the body is the vessel and the soul is the light, right? But in spirituality, you also have a person could go learn deep Hasidus and Tanya and Sichot from the Rebbe or Likutei Moran from Rabbi Nachman or all these different Zohar and all these deep things. But if they don't keep halacha, if they don't keep borderline, you know, bottom line Judaism, right? If they're not even keeping the spiritual guidelines of what's commanded to you, then you don't have the vessel to attain that deep light. So then the Tanya, or what?
So like the idea of making it practical again, doing the
No,
things.
yeah, like, but regardless, you have in life in general, you have light, you have this deeper light that is clear as light, and then you have the vessel that needs to attain it, right? So the body in this world is just the vessel for godly light and for godly revelation, right? V'shachanti b'tocham, and I dwelled in them. Like Hashem wants to dwell down here, right? Dira b'tachtonim. Hashem wants to be down here. So how do you do that if it's just a physical world that it's mundane and it's not godly? That's not the case. Judaism doesn't believe that. We don't believe in one God. We believe in one. We believe in God. That's it. It's the whole entire world is godly revelation. So now, how is it possible that you could say that eating is not godly, but then in Judaism we're commanded to eat a lot, not to eat a lot at once, but we have many commandments of food and wine and different things that have to do with food, right? So it's not that it's not holy. It's not that it's not holy. It's just that we have halacha, we have Jewish law, we have the way to engage with everything in the world. And if you engage with it properly, and then also take it to the next level where you're not only making sure you're eating kosher and you're making a blessing and you're eating with table manners, not only that you're contemplating the fact that the food in front of you, all of the benefit that's in it, any of the vitamins, any of the taste, any of the texture that you enjoy, it's all only by way of the spark of Hashem that's inside that food that is giving it life and existence at that moment. That is what the benefit and the pleasure comes from, not from the piece of steak. It's a piece of flesh. It's an inanimate object. It's
the element to it that's giving it that
exactly, and that's everything in life. So now when your friend comes to annoy you and your friend comes to bother you, is it your friend or is it the soul inside of him that's a spark of Hashem from up above that's coming to engage with you right now?
That's actually very interesting. Like I love what you just said, and I love how you brought it all together. And I loved how you used that last example because you know that is amazing, and it's so powerful. But then what's also very important in Judaism is how we can also use these concepts and how we treat other human beings. And we do understand that everyone who's listening or different people are all at different levels when it comes to Jewish practice. But one area where I think we can relate to exactly is how we treat others. And I really like how you brought that at the end. That's something that's very
So
related to every single
I work in a visiting tasting center for Israeli beverages, whiskeys, and wines and everything. And this morning, a very interesting hidden tzaddik of Tzfat came in. He's an Abu Khatsira from Morocco, a very interesting guy. He came in, and we got some new wines in yesterday, right before Purim and Pesach. Some new wines to taste out. Very good winery. But we wanted to see what one of the OGs, one of the old schoolers had to say that really knows his thing, also in spirituality and also in wine. So he tasted it.
Okay.
In the beginning, he tasted one, and then he tasted the other. And the first one he really liked, and the second one he said, and then he quickly, like within 3 seconds, he corrected himself. He said, "This one was very, very good, and this one is good." Because the was like a disrespect to the wine. So he corrected himself and he says, no, sorry. The first one was very, very good. This one was good. Why? And then he explained himself after it. He says, "Amizalzel bedomem sofo mizalzel b'chavero." A person who disrespects the inanimate object, a rock, in the end he will disrespect his friend.
Wow.
So it comes around tonight that it's very funny that my morning is connecting now with my evening. So it's
very inspirational encounter for in a distillery.
We're in Tzfat. We're in Tzfat. It's every step is this exactly.
Window, and that's so beautiful because also Friday night when we do Kiddush, we cover the bread, right? And obviously the idea that we shouldn't embarrass the bread, and everyone's like, how ridiculous is that? Breads don't have feet. I mean, in today's maybe they do, but bread. And we're like, no. First of all, godly, number one. Number two, if we have respect, and that's what I did a geography degree, so I always used to find it a bit nuts how everyone's touch and so connected to the environment. This was kind of before my spiritual kind of connection, and I kind of still couldn't understand why people cared so much about the environment. Okay, it's grass or tree, like who cares at the end of the day? It's going to be fine. And then these ideas started coming out. Like it's also about the idea if you're able to respect inanimate objects, things that they are living but not to the human level. All the more so when it comes to our fellow human being, we'll be much more cautious to not embarrass them. Like why we would not want to embarrass the bread because
sure.
Wine.
And just to give another example to make it even sweeter, we say it every single day in Pitum HaKetoret, in the incense offering of Shacharit and Mincha. We say it every single day that Rabbi Natan Aya Omer Adek Edek 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 Mipnei She'akol Yefeh B'Samim. Rabbi Natan would say, grind it well, because the voice is pleasant for the fragrances, for the incense. So while he was grinding the incense, he says, like Rabbi Natan is explaining what was the process of preparing the incense offering in the temple. And he says that while they were grinding up all the different herbs together, they would sing this little song, grind it well, grind it well. Why? Because the voice is pleasant for the plants. And a Japanese, it's known Japanese scientist did experiments not too long ago with plants as well as with drops of water that they froze, and they said positive words to them, and they were beautiful images when they put the microscope image up, scan of the snowflakes. They became beautiful snowflakes, like we all know from the commercial snowflakes, right? And then when they would say bad words and say disgusting things to the water, they would take the same exact image, same process. It would come out dirty, muddy water. It wouldn't look good. The image was not a nice, beautiful snowflake. So So the world we do interact with this world. Everything in this world has a nefesh, has a level of soul to it. Obviously, they're not able to communicate necessarily with us, but everything has some kind of spark in it from Hashem, and that is the only way it's in existence, right? This also leads to having being happy, which is adar. A person can only be happy when they know that nothing can affect them, that nobody could do any good to them, and no one could do any bad to them without the will of Hashem decreeing it, right? So that leads to happiness because you know you're in Hashem's hands at all time. But how? Why? Because you're in this world, but you see Hashem beyond what the eyes are showing you. This is exactly what this is what Am Yisrael is. This is what the Pnimiyut is, you know.
Wow. And I love how we kind of like, it's really interesting how all the topics link so well. Meaning, you just spoke about the idea of like not embarrassing a fellow man, and you ended that. I always pick up and think you kind of ended your point about having emunah, faith in Hashem, and very beautiful. Well, you've probably heard it from Rav Brody. I think it was
another thing that from the distillery. Someone walked in today. A chassid of Laser Brody walked in and started talking about him and everything, and now we hear. Okay, good. Keep going. Sorry.
My wife always says H. Shaka Protis. She says, oh, throw a bit of HP sauce in there. Divine Providence. It's beautiful, beautiful analogy. So this analogy I heard was really beautiful, and I kind of refer to it a lot. And it's that basically when we're sitting, especially on the buses in Israel, anyone who's been to Israel, right, and they're sitting on, you're already saying Shema. Like you're already calling my mum saying, I love you, like it's been good knowing you, you know what I mean? Because the way they drive in the car, like, it's crazy. You feel like, you don't know if you're going to get to your destination. But then again, I see people sitting on their phones, like reading newspapers, like chilling, listening to music. And then he's like,
yeah,
they just have trust. They haven't seen the qualification. They just kind of trust that they're going to get from A to B. And even though it's a bit chaotic, they're still able to relax and trust that the bus driver is going to get them to B. Then he takes it a step further and he says, "Well, we're on a plane, we're sitting in a plane, British Airways, whatever plane, people, whatever airline, I don't judge, I just went to London, I used EasyJet, you got to fly cheap, you got to fly cheap, Jewish, I've got to save my pennies, and I'm sitting on this plane, and people are watching their movies on their plane. Well, EasyJet doesn't have a TV, but most other airlines, people are watching the TV. They're looking out the window, just maybe having a bit of a schluff. They're all the way in the air. They just trust. They don't know for a fact that they haven't seen the evidence that the pilot has the qualification.
They haven't even seen the pilot. They haven't even seen the pilot most of the time.
They haven't even seen the pilot physically. I love that. I love that. Wow. And the turbulence, the plane shaking, but people, most people are still, going to be okay. And then, take it further, all the more so with our lives, Hashem is the pilot. Hashem is the bus driver, right? And we know Hashem has got the qualifications to lead our lives, to get us from A to B. He's infinite in power, in knowledge, infinite in probably the most important, even though we shouldn't really put these on a scale, but in my opinion, his omnibenevolence, which is his unlimited goodness, for me really is so incredibly profound. The fact that God is so good and only can do good, even though we see all of this crazy going on. So in life, it's about playing. And sometimes there will be, sometimes there will be like a crazy, swings and turns on the bus. But it's about ultimately on a deep level that simcha lies. I mean, me and you could both be on that bus and the plane and have different reactions. I could be sitting there and enjoying and utilizing my time and really enjoying the plane journey. And you could be sitting there being stressed the whole time that am I going to get from A to B? Maybe some people might even jump off the plane, because they've had enough. But the goal, where the simcha of Vada, I think, lies, is that point where you're sitting on that plane and you know that you're in the safest hands Hashem's hands in the world. And it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to lie and to relax. Obviously, we have to do the There's another thing. We have to do our effort. So where does effort come in this analogy? Maybe getting on the plane in the first place, or maintaining the journey. I don't know.
Wearing the seatbelt when they put the light on. That's it.
Exactly.
What more can you do?
Wow. Everyone's got their different levels of putting that seatbelt on. Right? Some people might, just aren't that cool turning up to that shit or whatever it is. But the point I'm trying to make is that where I think the simcha lies in perspective and knowledge and deep experience. I'm really in Hashem's hands, and just kind of use
everything else is, first of all, false, right? It's really not in our hands, and it only causes more stress. If in the end of the world, if at the end of the day everything is up to you, meaning all the success is because of you and how you did it and the way you put in your effort and you prepared and did your research and blah blah blah, and if you messed up, it's because you showed up late and you didn't answer the phone on time and all these other things, right? If both of those extremes are true, your life is miserable. A person's life is miserable, because then everything comes down to you and everything's on your shoulders. But when you realize nothing is about you, nothing was your fault, really. Obviously, that's not to remove responsibility, right? We're talking once the thing was done. Now, when I have retrospective, look back on my day to do my cheshbon nefesh, to calculate everything I went through in my day to become a better person, right? When I look back, am I going to beat myself up for the failure? And am I going to completely throw myself a party for the great work that I put in? And if I wouldn't have done it and made it happen, then it was all going to fail. And I don't show gratitude to anybody. If that's the case, then that's Gehenom. That's the worst reality possible in this world, right? And that will only bring more stress to a person, to the need to succeed, or the inability to get up from failures, right? And instead of that, we have to really realize that it's Hashem. I'm a messenger to express His will into the world. My goal is to keep halacha, to keep to keep to my daily routine of the things that I need to do to be a healthy person, and to put in effort, that since I'm just a messenger of Hashem, it's Hashem. I'm Hashem's messenger. I want to be the best possible. With that said, though, it's not about me. At the end of the day, if I'm successful or not, that was Hashem's will. I just tried my best to do the best that I could, right? So that doesn't mean I'm driving myself crazy. You have to flow with Hashem. Sometimes you see Hashem's closing doors for you, right? And it's like, okay, if I keep pushing, then I'm going to break the precious object that I'm trying to deliver. I can't, obviously the door's closed. Maybe I need to go check if there's a window, or if there's stairs, if there's an elevator. Is there another way to get to my destination, right? Because clearly this one is not working. So let's restart and readjust. It's exactly, but when you do it, then you start to take fun. Like when you were saying about the bus driver, right? How they drive so crazily. I'm in Israel now nearly 13 years, and when the bus drivers drive fast, it might be scary, but I actually kind of get happy, because the chances we're going to get in an accident are very low, and the need I have to get home right now is probably higher. So let's go. Let's take the risk, drive, because you know what you're doing. You do this all day long. You're probably not going to get in an accident, but you might get me home a little bit faster, So let's go for the ride. Let's learn some Torah on the way.
I wish I could be on that level, Actually, to take that again, like, sorry to be deep about everything. It's good to have. It's also good to be in the Gashmias and then just laugh about something. But to take what you just said is also very deep. Meaning, sometimes life can get very fast and things can happen very quickly. And sometimes, like in the moment, be like, "This is just too much." Like, but you can actually, if even though is going fast, this is in line with my goal, because my goal is to connect to God as quick. So for me, I had a really big struggle younger mentally, and things like my life just kind of 360, like everything I knew kind of broke down in front of me. every idea of existence that I had before, the way to treat people, the way to act, the way to behave, kind of broke down in front of me. And I don't know if anyone's listening or you guys have ever had experiences in your life where you hit breaking point, and that breaking point, the reason I think it's called breaking point is because what happens is everything believed or known starts to break down in its existence in terms of the way you see it in your mind starts to break down, and it's breaking point because everything it starts to break, and you're like, wow, there's something else, and like I've been living this lie, etc. I reached breaking, and I realized that I was living this lie internally. So that gap, and life was turning very fast. And again, I wasn't at the mentality to say, you know what, I want to connect, so this is good. I was resisting this God calling out to me, saying, come on, like connect to something higher. And I was seeing this as something that was resistance in my life. Eventually, when I let go and realized, you know, the only one that can help me is God, so therefore God put me in. Then I started to let go, and then I kind of was in a really upward trajectory from then. And I started to like connect with the self idea of this higher being, this higher existence, not just being here for the self, the higher self, which is a part of this greater oneness. And I think that's where I found a lot of my happiness over the years. Obviously, there's been loads of tough moments, but more and more, I'm feeling a lot calmer in my disposition and the way I've been feeling, because I've been trying to really battle with this idea of the ego. And like recently, encounters where people have really, from my perception, really upsetting and rude to me. But then but when these things happen, I start to think to myself, what is I? Like, who is me? Questions like, what is on a very deep level, the me I that I feel offended? Like, who is I that feels offended? And then I start to think, why do I feel offended? Who is the I? The I is really just a made up concept in my head, because I'm just being, right? And then it's really weird, because when I start to think like I don't feel offended, because I start to kind of separate those comments to me being part of a greater self and a greater existence. So that's been like a bit of a journey that I've been on recently.
You have to see Hashem in everything you're going through in life, right? And I don't know, for me, I can only speak from my experience. I don't know if I suggest this for anybody else. I don't know. I haven't really spoken too much about this ever much in my life, at all, let alone public on a video, right? That's online. But
no judgment.
Yeah, no. So it's exactly that thing. No judgment, right? So like, I don't. It could have come from a place of judgment growing and throughout life, and it could still be rooted there, kind of. But I think in my life, I've learned, if I really believe that everything is Ashkacha Pratit, like the Baal Shem Tov says, that everything we experience in life was a message from us, directly from God, no matter where it came from, no matter what it was. You saw it, you experienced it, you heard it, and it was two other people having a conversation. You weren't even involved at all, but you heard their conversation. It was from Hashem, right? Find Hashem in that. I really believe that. I mamash believe that every single step I take is Ashkacha. Not because I'm special, because Hashem, that's how special Hashem is. That Hashem is, that's fine with the detail, right? How much I believe that, okay, right? But in my head, I believe it. I wanted to connect to my heart, right? So if I believe that, though, then everything I hear is for me. For what? For me to beat myself up, or for me to grow, for me to connect to Hashem? Obviously, for me to connect to Hashem more, right? So now, again, if it's all about me and someone comes and curses me out, then why did Hashem come to send someone to curse me out? What did I do wrong? Again, it's not all about you. It's not. But if it's like, if it's here to connect me to Hashem, it's like, okay, Hashem sends someone to embarrass me, to scream at me a little bit, to give me, to wake me up a little bit. Then you can. You get me? It's about my connection to Hashem. It's not just about me to develop me because I am someone and I need to be someone. No, it's all about Hashem. It's all about my connection to Hashem. It's not.
Oh, so that's
exactly.
That's the focus.
If it's just me and my personal development to be a better person in society, then no, that's no. You're a tool. You have to. What is bitul? Be a tool. Be a tool. right? Nullify yourself to
Wow.
Hashem. Nullify yourself.
Wow.
Be a tool of Hashem, meaning it's not about you. You have to do certain things, and you put in this world in a human experience because that's the way Hashem chose to bring your light, your neshama to this world to reveal what He wants to reveal. Now, He wants to reveal something by way of you. Just be that tool. Allow it to come through you.
It'll be a
I heard
tool.
it
That's
from, I don't
so
remember who I
powerful,
heard
man.
it. It's some spotty. I heard it not too long ago, but I love it. I love it, right? Because it's
Be honest, a lot of my Judaism, I'll be honest, I'm going to be honest here, it was very much about my personal, okay, I want to connect to Hashem. But I do feel up until now, a lot of my focus has been, how am I how am I to connect to, like, obviously I want to connect to Hashem, but it's been a lot about me. And it's like, I get it, like everyone's saying, this is the battle of the ego, that's why we're here. But it's such a beautiful idea that it's not about me, it's about how I'm used, how am I going to be used as a tool to connect to something higher. Like, I just think that's a really humbling thought. It's a really, and again, I actually, Masan Torah, we got Torah Mount Sinai last Parsha, and I heard a beautiful idea about the idea of humbleness, and
I heard it.
linked
Saw
to this
your
idea
video.
that, oh, you
Yeah.
saw the video? Yeah, so exactly. I'm going to repeat it just very quick. But and I'm going to see I want to see it here. But obviously, everyone asks a basic question. Like, your kid, you learn, oh, what Mount Sinai with the flowers? It was like middle ground, you know. Why wasn't it too high? Because you don't want to be above Hashem, you know, and it's just want to be humble. But then we can ask the greater question of why wasn't Torah given on the very low place? That's the idea of humbleness, right? And again, so it comes like that. The idea of being humble isn't about neglecting yourself, making yourself small. The idea of being humble in life is actually saying, you know, I have these good traits, these things that I can benefit society and act as a tool, but it comes from Hashem. So again, like the focal point of your good trait, the focal point of you is Hashem. Not that like I've got these traits to benefit Hashem, but I've got these tools as an extension of Hashem. Do you know what I mean? And Hashem is the focal point, and that's what I think. That's the new idea that I'm getting here. Is that the idea of humbleness is to be that tool, to know that this isn't about myself. When I give a share or we give a class right now, this isn't about spreading our fame and improving it. This is about how can we be a tool for God? Like, how can we spread God's message? We're just kind of like vessels. Like,
I think also
before,
like even for us, right? Like on the level of the things that keep you and I busy, and some of the other people that have tuned in here, right? That create content for Am Yisrael, for Hashem, right? For Jewish content, and when we come to do these things, right? A lot of the time it's us creating content and us having to come up with the ideas and trying to get everything out, right? The effort that we put into this work has to be where's the balance of the ishtadlut, right? I want it to be seen, right? And I want it to get out there, and I want to do a good job, right? But why? So that my accounts will grow. Okay, for why? For what? So that Hashem will be seen, so that this message that benefited me in my life and my personal self growth, right? I want others to taste this. But again, not for me, but okay, but I need to grow in order to do that. But okay, that's in the hands of Hashem. What can I do? So for me, like personally, like, right, I was making videos I started to decide to make videos every day. And then after a while, I was like, okay, but everyone's using captions. And it's like clear that all videos now need captions, and I'm not doing captions. So then I prayed to Hashem. I said, Hashem, if I'm meant to do captions, I'm going to download the application. If it goes easy for me, I'll start to do it. I'm good with tech, right? I am tech savvy. So like, I tried. It wasn't that hard. It adds another 4 minutes every day to making the video. Okay, but it makes it that much more successful. And now I'm up with the days. So how much effort am I putting in? Like, for months I wasn't there. I didn't have the ability to do it. For like a few months I was doing these videos, and I was like, I'm not doing captions because I'm just not doing that. After a while I was like, well, I got the consistency down of doing a video nearly every day. So now let's see if we can put in a little bit more effort to make sure that it'll be a better product. Again, why? So that it'll be seen more by the algorithm, so that the message will get out there more. Okay, so let's see if we can put in that extra effort. No, I put in the extra effort, and it's the fruits is there. It's helping. It's much. Right?
You multiply.
Right? So again, but the point is why? Yeah,
What's the
why
point?
is everything? And for me personally, I'm going to speak now. Again, something that you externally seem to be on the other side of this. For me, the self help and like all these like the self help from the side of like the medical and for me it's like I can't connect to it. For me personally, I can't connect to it.
Oh, the self-help industry.
Yeah, why? Because I don't know. I happen to be a very spiritual person, and for me, I've been exposed to it now in all of the Torah of the Tzaddikim of growing, and so for me, I'm getting it, I guess, from the Torah, right? But when I look into these, when I have dabbled here and there to see what's being said, Tony Robbins, Peterson, or all these different people, right? That talk, it's like it's really always about me. It's always about I. It's always about there. Even if any spiritual thing is mentioned, it's about me. So like, yeah, we are us. Like the Tzaddik of Lublin said, as much as you believe in Hashem, you have to believe in yourself. Like you believe in Hashem, you have to believe in yourself. Right? That's from a tzaddik in Europe, a few hundred years ago. It's not like, but what's the inyan? Why do you have to believe in yourself? Because you are an extension of Hashem. You get me? So it's not because you're separate and you have no reality to yourself at all. If Hashem decides to flick the light switch, and you see the switch right there, Hashem flicks the switch, in a second this whole entire world disappears and no one even remembers that there is no one. There's nothing. There's just Hashem. That is the whole entire reality, right? So if that is the reality that we believe in as Am Yisrael, as Jews, so then we have to start making this connection more in our personal lives.
At the same time, I agree with that. At the same time, there is an element of reality, and the reality is that God created the sense of the feeling there is an I for a reason, because that I, again, like the self is like where there's no physicality in the self. And there's a physical body and the ego, which represents what we call the world, which is needed in order to perform mitzvot and connect to Hashem. So I would take what I need to connect to Hashem more, but I believe again self-help is purely the I, and I think like spirit more like things kind of incorporate both, because you said need for both. You have to be practical and talk to the I, because tachlis, that's what we're dealing with. However, the true deeper reality is there is no I. So again, it's like I said before, it's this idea of being able to sit like this with all my clients, everyone I kind of work with. I'm always talking about being able to sit with contradictions, because balance in life, if you only lived in this world where there was only the spiritual element or no physical thing, you wouldn't get out of bed. Let's be real, because then what's the point of moving? Be here with Hashem, right? So there has to be in life this constant balance of two opposing things. Like someone can shout at me but still love me. Someone can
shout at me because they love me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing certain mitzvahs, but I still believe in God. That can happen. I can be at a certain level. So there's constantly in life, some people really struggle when they're in extremes. It's because they can only balance. They can only have one extreme. So with balance, like I really, really appreciate what you're saying about connecting, making it a lot about God. But I think there's an element of being able to have that around underlying everything, but also being able to put the self on top. So if I'm reading a self-help book, for example, like Gabby, I've been listening to a lot of Gabby Mate recently, a lot on trauma and all these people. And when I read them, I don't look at it. I look at it through. I try my best to look at it through the lens of spirituality. Obviously,
I just thought of it. I don't want to forget it. Trauma, teruma. Why did we have truma? Why did we have a mikdash? Because we had the egel. because we did an egel. That's such a traumatic thing. It just came to me right now when you said trauma, truma. So go ahead, just continue. You just had to get that out there, but right?
I
But
can't
not.
lie. When you start me on
But
trauma,
yeah,
bro.
so I don't know. Trauma is a funny thing too that I don't really connect to so much. But here you have that.
Because I've got like a
So
lot to kind of. I feel like I personally think like most of our issues, I'd say 99%
it's
come from trauma.
but the thing is, you
As
have
Jewish,
to, like you said, right? Like it's like maybe Natan of Breslov, he teaches about this whole idea. What?
what what does he say
About
about
this
trauma?
idea that we had the sin of the calf, right? We haven't learned about it in the Torah yet, but it already happened technically chronologically. The Torah is just not in
Yeah,
chronological order, right?
yeah,
But it already happened. The truma is after that thing, right? So it says, "Shehorani v'na'ava bnot Yerushalayim." I'm black and beautiful, right? Shlomo Melech, right? Yeah,
thank you.
you are. Ah, right? So Shlomo HaMelech says, I'm black and beautiful. Shechorani b'maaseh egel, v'na'avani b'maaseh mishkan. I'm black when it comes to, not black in, right? Meaning darkened in sin, so to say, right? From the act of the calf, but I'm beautiful because of the work of the Mishkan, right? So
Wow.
what is he? What is he saying? It's the same pasuk. And don't see that I'm black. Don't see that I'm black to the point that I'm blackened to the everything is dark and I can't do anything because of the egel. Right after that, I built the mikdash with 13 different tributes of gold and silver and copper and animal skins and the most beautiful curtains and candelabras and the most amazing, amazing, amazing contribution from all by myself, from the depths of their heart, giving towards Hashem. This, like we've said a few times, right? Judaism is literally one big back and forth between seeing something with your eyes and experiencing a much deeper, deeper, deeper connection to Hashem in your heart and in your head, and having to believe what's going on in your heart and your head over what you're seeing with your physical eyes. Right? That is
That's
what you see contradictions,
that's
everything.
pretty, that's pretty well.
Today I recorded and managed to put out, I think, with the help of Hashem, a shiur that for me was monumental. I only just learned it in Parashat of the splitting of the sea, Parashat Beshalach a few weeks ago, right? But I like immediately as I finished reading it, I was like, I have to record this. I have to give it out to the world. Why? Because like this is groundbreaking, and I know for a fact that this teaching that I just recorded today and put on my YouTube channel, that when I learned it a few weeks ago and I've read it a few times over the past few weeks, I know that it's going to be monumental for the rest of my life, probably. I know, I feel it. I know it's one of those teachings, right?
Give a
What?
quick gem. Can you give a
It's exactly
quick
what we're
gem of that?
talking about. The fact that sometimes you serve Hashem and you're connecting, you're trying to do good, you're trying to connect to Hashem, and everything goes for you. Everything's going A-okay. You pray and you get answered. You make your steps and everything's fine. And then at a certain point, Hashem goes and he puts a sea in front of you, Egyptians behind you, desert and animals all around you, and angels up above you fighting. And it's like, whoa, what? But wait, everything's Hashem. Wait, I'm doing everything's good. I'm going towards Israel. I'm about to get the Torah. What is this? What is this obstacle? What is this? Ah, but it's from Hashem. Hashem's doing everything. We're being led by Moses into this situation. So what happens? What am I meant to do? Right? That's exactly it. But we have to be able to see one thing with our eyes in this world while we're conscious as human beings. We're not animals that we don't know this. We're human beings. We have a soul inside of us that allows us to understand that these concepts exist, not to understand the concept, but to understand that the concept exists, that I can see one thing with my eyes and know in my head that that's not the real reality. To know that I don't need to be scared, I don't need to feel pride, I don't need to be startled, I don't need to be shook up. It's okay. There's a sea, there's Egyptians, there's it, but Hashem told me I'm going to the land of Israel, I'm going to get a Torah. So then what am I scared of? Hashem told me there's a goal, there's a purpose, and I know everything's coming from him. So what's going to happen? What's going to go on now? Now, this isn't in the shiur, but it's connected. How did Miriam approach this situation? With a tambourine. Miriam, the holiest woman in all of Am Yisrael at the time, comes into this exact situation of being surrounded on all sides by death, ready to dance and sing and party, right? Why? Because if this is the situation and it's all from Hashem, then there's for sure about to be the biggest miracle possible, which was exactly what the splitting of the sea was. That what the maidservants of the nation of Israel saw at the sea, Yechezkel ben Buzi, the biggest prophet besides Moshe Rabbeinu, had the biggest revelations. Not even he could see what the maidservants saw at the splitting of the sea. So, and what was the situation right before that? That they were surrounded by death. And what happened? That Nachshon had to walk into the water until it's here. And only because he did that, because it's above any logic that you're going to walk into the sea and it's going to split for you. That's above all human logic. That's literally impossible for humans to think that it would happen. But with Emunah, Emunah is above everything. So Emunah, you start to walk, and that is exactly what splits the sea. So this is exactly what we're talking about. We've been talking about this whole time, that there are contradictions, but with Emunah, you can break everything.
Wow, I'm a bit speechless. Very, very powerful stuff, and I think to be honest, like that kind of, I think that kind of summarizes where I'm at with the moment, and that is the idea that even if things around you seem like they're crumbling, and based on logic, you know, it would make you give up now. It's to tap into that deep source of hope and spirituality and emunah, and not only pay with what's happening, get through it, but have mamash be Miriam and dance with simcha whilst you're going through these things, because at the end of the day, the same result's going to happen. I saw a nice, a funny Facebook picture of a video of a guy on a beach, and if you saw this, and he was mopping the sea, and every time he mopped, like another wave over him. And it said that, like, this is human beings trying to control their life, you know. The more we try and control, less sense it makes. And sometimes we just obviously have to do our part, but I realize that so many factors, probably every factor is really out of our control. And the one thing that I think we really have some control over is our emotional, our attitude towards situations. And I'm reassuring to all of us, when it comes to simcha, that no matter what the physical reality which is manifesting around us, the one thing that we can kind of take ownership of, with Hashem's help, is our internal world, the way we perceive things, the way we connect to spirituality. So much so, please God, that we should all be at a level where no matter what's occurring around in our lives, that we can still have that simcha. And that simcha doesn't mean just smiling and being happy. It's that deep level which a lot of the Siddiqui talk about. That you can, again, the contradiction, you can be sad and joy at the same time. You can have empathy with someone and be sad with someone, but still feel a deep level of joy for existing in the world. And that's where simcha really comes to me. It's not the idea of just being, hey, I'm happy. It's that deep stillness within us that is content and joyful with the world we live in. And no matter what's happening, is still having peace within. I think for me, I don't think I've got much I want to say topic right now, and it's getting late. And I think that's where I want to conclude on this idea of purpose and simcha.
Sorry again, sorry.
So that's kind of where I kind of want to end my.
It's
and not kind of.
It's really in the end we are right. Rabbi Nachman said, "Mitzvah gedola liot b'simcha tamid." It's a big way to connect to Hashem, to be happy constantly. You have to read. There's a way to read mitzvah. Right? Mitzvah could be a commandment. It's a big commandment to be happy all the time. A mitzvah could be tzavta, it's a point of connection. Tzevet is unity in Hebrew. So it's a big way to connect to Hashem constantly is by being happy constantly, right? And all the chidah, the tzaddikim, the Arizal, and the introduction of all the Arizal. You think the Arizal who brings all the Kabbalah, the deepest Kabbalah in the world, that every Kabbalist nowadays, only according to the Arizal, right? What is in the introduction of his book? That the only way he got to all of his levels is by way of happiness and joy. You're talking about one of the biggest tzaddikim ever in the world. And this is constantly, we have an obligation to be happy, right? And to be in joy. And the only way to really get there is with Hashem. Because nothing else will give you real joy. It's not going to come like the Baal Shem Tov says. We say it now on Rosh Chodesh, at least the Sfardim, we say it in Baruch Nafshi before Arvit, right? Wine will make the heart of man happy. What wine, said Baal Shem Tov? Wine, we see how much happiness that brings to people. They can, they can completely lose it because of drinking wine. So what Baal Shem Tov says, what is the wine that will make the heart of man happy? It's the wine of Torah. It's the secrets of the Torah, the pnimiut, the deepest depths of the Torah. That's what makes the heart of man happy. That's what brings person joy. And it's not that I think, oh, so all day long my head needs to be in the book. No, but when you approach the book, approach it from a goal of trying to connect to Hashem, and then you would have connected to the source of simcha, the source of joy in the world. And then when you leave the book, right, which is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about a mishkan, a tabernacle. It's not the temple in Jerusalem that was set. It's portable, and it was never destroyed. It's never destroyed. It's portable. You take it on the walk with you. You keep going with you. So this is exactly. We have to keep walking. We have to keep going in life and being the simcha, because that's the only way that Hashem v'shachanti b'tocham, asuri migdash v'shachanti b'tocham. They made it for me a dwelling place, a sanctified place. Kadosh, sanctified, separate from anything I'm going through, holy, and I dwelled amongst them. So there's not the sin.
L'chaim, I mean, I don't drink.
Is H2O.
My wife. Oh, fine. But my wife's my shliach when it comes to drinking. She does all my drinking.
My. Malay yadenu mi birchotecha. Fill our hands from your blessings. U'mi'osher matanot yadecha. And from the wealth of the gifts of your hands. That's mine, twice mine. So, bro. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for thinking about this, and I'm happy that it could be on Rosh Chodesh Adar to connect.
So powerful, man! Like, really, really pumped up. And I just want to give a bracha to everyone here, and from both of us, that everyone watching should find that true that we've been talking about. That you should understand that everything we're here for. You're powerful. That you're special. Hashem, and as his tool, you're also very special, and that you should be happy. You should have bracha. You should have parnasa, money, everything. Purpose should come to you very speedily. And this month, please God, should bring everyone so much simcha. Like simcha, you're like, I didn't know this ever existed in my life, which I've been experiencing, thank God, a bit recently. But levels in life is to understand more the simcha, more what's really going on deep down. And the more you get in touch with that, it's like Olam haba, the world to come to you.
Hopefully we see each other soon. You know what? In Besimcha is the same letters of machshava, of thought.
Oh.
Thought, machshava is Besimcha. Wow. It's the same letters. It's just what are your thoughts? Rabbi Nachman says you can only have one thought at a time. So just control your thoughts as much as you can to be positive thoughts, and you're going to be Besimcha. Your thoughts will be Besimcha.
Wow. That's going straight to the grandkids, man.
I hope you're posting this so people will be able to see it afterwards. And is that the Shem?
Yeah, it was to my feed. So it can be we can do our own chazorah, to be honest.
I need to listen to this again for sure.
Yeah, but man, it's going to be the last time, so I'm not going to say goodbye. But, we'll be back. We'll be definitely back with more powerful conversation, my friend. Hit the pillow, get some rest. I love it. It's been amazing. Cool. It's good seeing you guys, man. Thanks everyone for